What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. I hope everybody's having a great week so far, and you had a great Thanksgiving week this past weekend. I know I sure did. Strap yourselves in, guys. We got a great episode as always. So, we had a lot of action this past weekend and a lot of different facets. The first thing I want to discuss, though, is I want to go into depth about what transpired over the weekend with Texas A&M. Now, normally I don't, so I'm throwing you guys a curveball here. So I want to talk about Texas A&M, and one of my listeners, Gary from Utah. I know you're a big Texas A&M guy, so I want to go ahead and start off talking about them for you. So over the weekend, Texas A&M, of course, they got beat by LSU, which I knew was going to happen because they don't have a head coach right now. Jimbo Fisher got fired. So all of a sudden, late on Saturday, was it Saturday night? I think it was Saturday night. Late Saturday night reports came through around 9 o'clock at night, Texas time, so 10 o'clock Eastern time, that Mark Stoops, who earlier in the day had beaten Louisville, he's the head coach of Kentucky. For those of you who don't know, he's Bob Stoops' brother. Which I can't stand Mark Stoops, by the way. I think he's a loser. He, out of nowhere, gets named the new head coach of Texas A&M. So I'm thinking, all right, the guy's pulling a Lincoln Riley. All right, he wins a game, last game of the season, and then he bolts, just like Lincoln Riley did a couple of years ago after the Oklahoma State game. Out of nowhere later that night, he bolted, went to USC in the middle, packed his bags in the middle of the night, and flew out to Southern California. So Mark Stoops was going to do the same thing. Then, about, 2 hours later, I think it was about 2 or 3 hours later, I look again, and Mark Stoops makes a post on Twitter. He's like, for those of you that think I'm taking the A&M job, that's a lie. I'm not leaving Kentucky. I turned the job down. So then he went from pulling a Lincoln Riley to a Josh McDaniels, all in a matter of 2 hours. Because Josh McDaniels did the same thing a few years ago when he was supposed to take the Indianapolis Colts job in the middle of the night. He said, nope, I'm staying with New England. I'm not going. I'm not taking the job. So Mark Stoops goes from pulling a Lincoln Riley to a Josh McDaniels all in a matter of 2 hours. Like, it was crazy. It was funny. It was funny. I was following the story almost all night long, because I'm like, okay, like Texas A&M's getting another coach from the SEC, so he knows how to go and play and recruit. Because Kentucky's gotten some decent recruits, I'll say. They're a middle-of-the-road team. And then he's like, nah, I'm not going to take that job. I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay at Kentucky. So, okay. Makes me hate the guy even more, to be honest with you. But then yesterday, so another report comes out. Now A&M has gone out and gotten Mike Elko, who took over for Cutcliffe at Duke. So, and I'm thinking, okay, now is this guy going to pull a Josh McDaniels or what? So I've been waiting. I was waiting all day yesterday and all day today. Nope. He's like, I'm taking the job. I'm Texas A&M's new coach. Now, so for A&M, I'm looking at it like this. Mike Elko, to me, is going to keep you guys in the middle of the road. He's not going to make you guys better because he couldn't do it at Duke. Yes, he has experience. He used to coach at Texas A&M. So I think the familiarity is there, but I just don't think he has the system in place to contend with the big boys of the SEC, like the Bamas, the Georgias, the soon-to-be Texases, the OUs, I'm even going to go out on a whim and say even the teams on the rise in the SEC, like the Ole Misses, um, the Mizzou's. Even Mizzou's good now. So I mean, there's a lot of teams in the SEC that I just don't think Texas A&M is going to contend with. They're going to probably still be a middle of the road team, I would say, if I wanted to give my honest opinion. So for all the A&M fans out there, you might get a little bit better than Jimbo Fisher, because I never was a big Jimbo Fisher fan to begin with. I thought it was a flash in the pan because he only had really one good year at Florida State, the year they won the championship. So, and which sucks because he's a Nick Saban protege. But I just don't think that Texas A&M. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Texas A&M does get a lot of good recruits every year, so there is a possibility that Texas A&M could be good. But that's a wait and see game, of course. Also, I do want to say this past weekend of college football was amazing. The Texas Longhorns on Friday night, they curb stomped the Red Raiders. Curb stomped them, beat them by 50 points. And for all the Longhorn fans out there, we finally got to see Arch Manning, who we've been waiting all year to see if Arch Manning was even going to get on the field, and we finally saw it. He looked okay. You know, he did. He looked okay. And it gave me a little bit of hope that he is going to be good. You know, he's mobile. He's got a decent arm. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. So going into the SEC next year, the teams there better watch out, because this kid's going to make some noise, I think. Especially if he gets he's got a full year under his belt with the system of Sarkisian. I think he's going to be pretty good. You know, I also got to see Ohio State and Michigan. You know, I was so glad Michigan beat them. I can't stand Ohio State. But here's my concern. I have a feeling Ohio State is somehow going to still make the top 4. Something inside of me is telling me this. I don't know why, but something inside of me is telling me that this is going to happen. So, what I'm looking at with the top 4 right now, you know, of course, you still got Washington. You're probably going to have Florida State. Florida State's probably going to move up because Ohio State lost. So Florida State's probably going to move up back into the top 4. And then right on the outside looking in, you got Texas and Oregon. Now, going into conference championship weekend, this is where it's going to really come down to it. So, Alabama's also in the mix too. Alabama and Georgia are playing each other. I have a feeling that Alabama, I don't know if they'll beat Georgia, because they that was another game. They got fucked again, or Auburn got fucked against them. To me, that game was rigged. Auburn had that game in the bag. 4th and goal, with 30 seconds to go, they were playing prevent defense, and then Alabama somehow scored a touchdown to win the game. Made no sense. I'm like, this is ridiculous. You know, Auburn had to lead the whole game too. To me, that game was rigged. It really was. It pretty much showed it. Because the college committee does not want to see Alabama lose 2 games. So, going into conference championship week, you know, they got to play Georgia. I don't know if they can beat Georgia. Georgia's a friggin' juggernaut right now. There's not many teams in the country that I think can beat Georgia. I know Michigan's probably one of them. I think Texas is probably one of them. Washington's probably one of them. Oregon, I think, could probably beat them. I just don't know if Bama can. Because Kirby Smart seems to know how to beat Nick Saban. You know, so I think going into conference championship weekend in the SEC, I think Georgia's going to take care of Bama, which I hope so. Then the Pac-12 championship is the one I'm really looking at, because that's Washington and Oregon. That's a rematch. Washington beat Oregon already this year. Oregon is going to be looking out for blood. And if Oregon beats Washington, that's going to probably put them up in the top 4. Then then Louisville's got to play Florida State. Florida State barely eked out a win against the lowly Florida team. Louisville's pretty good. I think Louisville could take Florida State down, especially since Florida State lost their starting quarterback for the year. If that happens and Texas wins, I think Texas will make the top 4. So that's what I'm hoping kind of happens. So my prediction for the top 4 after this coming week, I think Texas is going to take care of Oklahoma State. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Oklahoma State really didn't look good against BYU. So I think Texas will take care of them. I think Oregon's going to take care of Washington. Louisville's going to take care of Florida State. Michigan's going to curb stomp Iowa. That's not even and Harbaugh's back after his suspension. So that's going to probably be a blowout. And then, of course, Georgia's going to take care of Alabama. So my prediction for the top 4, I think it's going to be not Florida. It's going to be Texas, Oregon, Michigan, and Georgia. I think that's going to be the top 4. But we'll see. Conference championship weekend is very, very wild, though. We'll see. I'm looking forward to that. I know you guys are probably looking forward to that too. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be epic. I can't wait. I also want to talk about this past weekend with the NFL. We had some great games. Let me tell you, we had some great games. We had some bad games. I want to go over the bad games first. And you guys all know every week I got to talk about my Patriots. Now, part of me is at the point now where I hope they lose every friggin' game because at this point, I'm about ready to throw in the towel. I've already thrown in the towel. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just go for a top 3 pick at this point because Mac Jones is not the answer. He got benched again yesterday for Bailey Zappi. The Patriots still lost. They lost 10-7. They can't score. The Patriots cannot score points. Scoring 7 points a game, you're not going to win games. Even if your defense is playing lights out like they did. They played lights out against the Giants. The defense is not the problem. The offense just can't score. Especially when you got Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. They're not good quarterbacks. I'm sorry. Mac Jones is done. I just don't understand why Belichick keeps going with him. I think it has to do with Robert Kraft. I think Robert Kraft is whispering in his ear and saying, you know what? You need to start Mac every game. I don't care. If that's the case, then Robert Kraft is to blame for all this, not Bill Belichick. Now, do I think Bill Belichick's going to stay with the Patriots after the year? Probably not. I think Kraft's going to get rid of him. I really think Kraft is trying to disassemble this team. I think so. I really do think he's going to try and get rid of all the old dogs, get rid of Belichick, and bring in new blood. Do I want that to happen? Absolutely not, because I'm a big Belichick fan. But I'm starting to agree with Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp on this. I think Belichick messed up almost 4 years ago by not bringing Tom Brady back. I think he messed up. I think he should have kept him. All he had to say was, we want you back. He never said that. He never said nothing. He forced him out. And he let his ego get in the way, because Belichick's got a big ego. And he wanted to say, I can win without Tom Brady. I don't need him. I'm getting rid of him. The Patriot way I'm starting to realize, was Brady all along. It was never Belichick. Did Belichick get the personnel? Absolutely. He got the players. He got Gronk. He got Edelman. He had McCourty. He had, Hightower. He had all these great defensive players. He had these good offensive players. But at the end of the day, Tom Brady was the eraser. He's the one who made Belichick's mistakes go away. Now you don't have a quarterback of that caliber anymore, and it's starting to show. So, again, I do believe that something's got to give. I do believe Belichick is probably on his way out the door. It's gonna depress me whenever I do finally see that report. Whenever it comes, I don't know, but it's coming. I know it's not gonna happen right now. It's gonna probably happen at the end of the year, but I think it is gonna happen. That's my prediction. I really do believe that Belichick is gone. You know, hell, Frank Reich just got fired from Carolina just today. Carolina got to let him go. They said, you know what, you're gone, dude. Even though it's not Frank Reich's fault why Carolina's so bad. He wanted C.J. Stroud. They drafted Bryce Young. And look how that's turned out. Bryce Young's a loser. He can't score. He's just like Mac Jones. He sucks. And Frank Reich was the scapegoat, which is sad. Really, really sad. Because Frank Reich is a good coach. And he pretty much got the short end of the stick. So I don't know if Belichick's going to have that same fate. Again, I think Kraft's not going to do it right now. I think he's going to wait till the end of the year. But, again, we'll see what happens. We did have some good games this past weekend, though. You know, the Philadelphia Eagles, Luke Anderson, buddy, you guys were flying high. That was a great game. That was an amazing game. You guys battled through the adversity. You know, Jalen Hurts started off slow, but he picked it up as the game went on. Took it to overtime, and you won in overtime. That was great. That was awesome. The Eagles are a badass team this year. They got a murderer's row coming up, though. You know, you got San Francisco this coming week. You got Dallas the week after that. So we're going to really see what the Eagles are made of come the next couple of weeks. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to they're going to take care of business. They're going to be in some close, ugly games, though. Like yesterday was an ugly, close game. I have a feeling the next 2 weeks are going to be the same way. We'll see, though. We'll see. I will say, you know, even Dallas on Thanksgiving, they blew the doors off of Washington. And look what happened after that. Washington fired Jack Del Rio. They got rid of Jack Del Rio, which I think was the wrong move. I think Washington needed to get rid of Ron Rivera. I think Ron Rivera needs to go, and they need to give Eric Bieniemy a chance to be a head coach. That's the thing. They brought in Eric Bieniemy this past offseason with the intention that he was second in command, that he would take over if Ron Rivera was to leave. Ron Rivera, who I do like, I want to talk about him for just a second. I love Ron Rivera, but I'm starting to realize Ron Rivera is not that great of a coach. In the past 8 seasons, between Washington and Carolina, he's had 1 winning season. 1. And I want to say that was the year they went to the Super Bowl with Cam Newton when he won MVP that year. Since then, he has not had a winning season at all. Not with Washington, not with Carolina. When is the problem going to be pointed at him? Because it is him. I think he's the issue. You know, yes, do I agree that they have personnel issues too? I do. Yes, they need some other players. But at the end of the day, it starts with Ron Rivera. And I think it's time that, you know, the ownership group of Josh Harris and Magic Johnson need to be like, okay, we're trying to make this team better. You know, we're trying to build this team back. We're trying to get rid of all the Dan Snyder bullshit. I think it's time to get rid of Ron Rivera. I don't understand why they got rid of Jack Del Rio. Jack Del Rio is not the problem. The fact that Jack Del Rio got the short end of the stick is sad. Because I like Jack Del Rio. I always have. I think he's a great, great defensive-minded coach. Hell, he was the one that had the Raiders looking like a Super Bowl team one year until Derek Carr got hurt. I mean, he's a great coach. I don't hate Jack Del Rio. The problem in Washington is Ron Rivera. Granted, Ron Rivera's gone through a lot. You know, he had that cancer about a few years ago. He was dealing with that. But now, I just think his time is up. He's like Belichick. His time is up. I think it's time for him to go. Those are two coaches that I think need new opportunities. Belichick needs to go to another team. And Ron Rivera, I think, either just needs to flat out retire or he needs to go to another team. Maybe he can go back to Carolina. Carolina's got a job opening now. The Bears are probably going to have a job opening because I think Matt Eberflus is done too. Now, Black Monday is coming. Those of you that don't know what Black Monday is, that's the day after the last day of the regular season in the NFL. That's coming here in about a month. When Black Monday comes around, we're going to see who's there and who's not. There's a lot of coaches I think they're going to be let go soon. I even think Mike Vrabel in Tennessee is going to be let go too. I really do. I think Mike Vrabel's done soon too. But yeah, I do believe that that these next few weeks are going to really determine like some of these teams, like who's on the chopping block. Those are just a few coaches that I've named that are up for being fired. Some of them deserve it, some of them don't. Like Frank Reich doesn't deserve to be fired. Matt Eberflus, the Bears, absolutely. Mike Vrabel, I think he needs to be let go too. Ron Rivera, Bill Belichick. Brandon Staley. I forgot about Brandon Staley. How could I forget about Brandon Staley? My God, that guy could have a freaking 80-point lead in a game and find a way to lose. That's how terrible he is. I actually looked at a stat, speaking of Brandon Staley. The Chargers are the example of the most mid-team ever. Their record is seriously at 500 with Justin Herbert at quarterback. It's pretty fucking wild. Like, even their defense has allowed the same amount of points as their offense has scored. Like, that's not the most mid-team I've ever seen. I don't know what is. Like, that's just fucking hilarious. But, again, it's going to remain to be seen. This week, though, I'm looking at some games coming up this week. The Thursday night game, you know, Dallas has a very tough game this week. They got Seattle at home. Seattle's no joke. Seattle's good. They're going to give Dallas a game. I really do think they're going to give Dallas a game. Dallas, I think, will pull out that game on Thursday night. Don't get me wrong, but I do believe that that it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't. But we'll wait and see what happens. I know the Patriots got the Chargers this week. At this point, I'm rooting for the Patriots to lose every game, so I think a 2-10 record's coming. I just don't think the Chargers would. I think that New England. I don't think New England could keep up with the scoring the Chargers put up because the Chargers do score a lot. So I do think the Chargers will end up winning that game. And it's pretty apparent that New England just doesn't care anymore. They're just losing every game. It's sad. It's very sad, guys. And it pains me, you know, as a Patriots fan to have to see this. Did I see this coming? Yes. Not in this way, though. Not in this way. You know, going into this season, I was very hyped. I thought, you know, hey, Bill O'Brien, Mac Jones might be better with him. They got some decent weapons on the offense. The defense was good. The injuries piled up. Yeah, you know, losing their two best defensive players didn't help. The O-line's just god-awful. But it's apparent that they just don't care anymore. Changes are coming. For sure. Changes are coming, guys. But, that's all I got for today. I'm going to probably have another episode for you guys. Either this time next week. I might do another one later this week to go over the Dallas game. If I do have time on Friday, I'll go over the Dallas game with you guys. If not, I'll do another episode probably next week. Have a great week, guys. It's a beautiful day down here in Texas. It's about 55 degrees and sunny. Getting a little cooler down here, but we're still chugging along as always. Great weeks coming up, guys. Got the Christmas season rolling around. All you guys get out there, do your Christmas shopping. Don't wait till the last minute. If y'all want me to give you some advice, don't wait till the last minute. It never pans out. I know some of my listeners out there, you guys do wait till the last minute, but it just never pans out. Try to get it done as early as possible. Get a hold of these deals that are going on right now, and just get it out of the way. Take it easy, guys. I'll talk to you all later.